All right. Hello, and thank you for joining us, everyone. We have yet again a very special episode. We are joined by Kevin Wall of JobNimbus, and we are also joined by our very own man behind the curtain, Brad Greenwald, our Chief Technical Officer, Dad here at ROOFLE, and the man behind this integration and the majority of the technology that we support here at ROOFLE. So we're very fortunate to have gotten him to give us a little bit of his time. And we are going to be jumping into specifically our brand new JobNimbus integration. Before we roll into the rest of the material that we have, I do want to highlight that we are joined by Kevin. We are joined by Brad. This is a great opportunity to ask your questions and get any kind of insight both into this integration, into the tools that we have on offer, and to kind of the general market. So we will do a live Q&A at the end. Any questions that you have throughout, feel free to throw them in anytime, and we will address everything towards the end. As we go ahead and get started, Kevin, do you mind giving me a little introduction, a little bit of background, how you find yourself at JobNimbus and what brought you here today?
Yeah, so excited to be here. Appreciate the time. My name is Kevin Wall. I'm the Director of Strategic Partnerships for JobNimbus. So I work with ROOFLE and other suppliers and technology companies to provide just all the best tools available to roofers and exterior contractors in the industry. I've been with JobNimbus a little over a year. Before then, I worked in fintech. And before that, I was a small business owner and contracting side. I had a metal framing, drywall, and paint business that I was a partner in with two other people. Did that for about 5 years during the housing bubble crisis. Our timing was fantastic there. But you know, we love the chance to be here, love the chance to partner with ROOFLE, and excited about today.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. And Brad, for the vast majority of our customers and any viewers here who have no idea who you are, can you give us a little bit of background on who Mr. Greenwald is?
Sure. Brad Greenwald, Chief Technology Officer here at ROOFLE. Expansive career in the software space, 15 plus years. Moved into the roofing space about 5 years ago. Back in the day, ROOFLE was originally doing business to consumer roof installations, and we built out a lot of automations and kind of end-to-end roofing software that parallels a lot of what we see coming out today. We are one of the foremost in pushing an e-commerce style experience for our customers. I think we are a little ahead of the game. And that said, we found that contractors were deeply interested in our technologies. So we switched over to providing our technologies to contractors. And the pinnacle of that is our RoofQuote Pro platform, which allows instant roof estimation software and collaboration with other roofing software programs, which is what you're going to see today.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. So as we dive into this, the first thing that I want to get into is with you, Kevin. So can you give us and our viewers a little bit of an overview on JobNimbus, what you guys offer to contractors, and then as a follow-up to that, what brought you to this partnership? What made this integration so important to JobNimbus?
Yeah, happy to. So JobNimbus is a customer relationship management software and a project management software. So our goal is to make contractors heroes. We do that by focusing on a couple of different pinnacles. We want contractors to be more profitable. We want contractors to be more professional. We want contractors to be more efficient. And so one of the reasons, and to your second question, one of the reasons why we really sought after this partnership with ROOFLE was we take feedback back from our contractors all the time. And one of the things that they were screaming for was that we need to help them generate leads. We need to help them market. And we've taken several steps over the last couple of years to solve that need for our contractors. We have some embedded tools that we own, but through partnerships like with ROOFLE, we wanted to help in lead generation. And ROOFLE is one of the great tools that we've implemented, thanks to y'all, thanks to Brad. To get that done. So if we advance to the next slide, one of our contractors from Precision Roof Crafters says, "Hey, thanks to these tools, we're able to get to more jobs." I think we jumped a couple
I
slides.
did. I'm so sorry, guys.
No, it's good.
It
It's
keeps
good. It's no big
going the opposite direction that I'm trying. There we go.
So we through integration partnerships like with ROOFLE, we're able to get contractors more leads and more jobs. And on the next slide, so Brad had mentioned automations, and one of the things that really sets JobNimbus apart is hey, how do we save time once we get a lead? And Brad will walk through this tool, but in the lead generation tool that ROOFLE is and how that plugs into JobNimbus is just off the charts awesome. But once that lead comes into JobNimbus's funnel, what happens to it? There could be a lot of time spent to assign leads out to salesperson, to send text messages or to call or to communicate with those to those leads. And one of the big pluses to JobNimbus is the ability to automate some of those mundane tasks. We have calculated through surveys and through our own internal calculations that we save about 9 hours of time per job by automating some of these tasks. And a lot of the tasks that we automate deal with the lead, the prospect, the customer, sending emails, communicating, and then tasks associated with those customers. So assigning tasks to salespersons to call or to send a follow-up on a proposal. And ultimately what we found is when reviews come in on the back end, a lot of time the way a contractor communicates with a customer determines the level of satisfaction that that customer has with a contractor. And so automating a lot of these tasks makes it so the customer feels important, feels communicated to, and it improves the experience. On to the next slide. So you know, we make contractors heroes. We've given you back time. What are you going to do with that time? Some contractors will sell more jobs. Some contractors will finally go on a vacation, right? Some contractors will donate that time to their community, to their family, to church, to other projects. But it's the idea of being a supercharged team, leveling up your business comes from great, you know, by adding just a small expense like JobNimbus, you're able to gain back a lot of time and then use that time, you know, however you want. So that's kind of what JobNimbus is. That's why the integration with ROOFLE has been such an awesome partnership and a great tool and tool build of contractors.
Man, thank you for the kind words. And the other thing that I like about the way that you present that is you highlighted the amount of time that you save over and over and over again. And I love that because, I mean, time is the one resource that you can only spend. That's your only option, is you can spend time and that's it. You can spend it wisely or you can spend it foolishly or inefficiently or what have you. But the ability to give contractors back time and make sure that they're staying on top of everything, that is that's the key for me. And like for what I am excited about our tool and about the integrations that we build is the amount of time that it is saving and the amount that it is giving back to these contractors to let them focus on the other areas of their business or the things that, like the mundane things, the reminders, the tasks, the follow-up, the communication, automating all of that gives the contractors the time to do the things that they actually do best, because everybody can send emails, everybody can send text messages, everybody can follow up with contractors or with consumers, but giving them the time to not have to do any of those things that everybody can do and let them focus on the things that only they can do is really an awesome opportunity.
Yeah, and it's funny how, you know, we say, hey, anybody can do that, right? But in reality, if we were to take a little poll survey, how many people on this call or out in the, you know, how many actually do it? You know, how many send a text message saying, hey, you know, man, we fell behind on the last job. We're not going to be at your house tomorrow like we thought we would, or materials are being delivered in a week, or your salesman will reach out to you, you know, within 24 hours, right? You know, anybody can do those, but in reality, nobody does them, which contributes to some of the poor reviews that roofers get online that we're trying to solve.
Absolutely. I love it. And so we're going to take a brief break from just kind of the conversation here, and we are going to go into a very brief demo of the ROOFLE technology for anyone who's on this call who is not familiar with what we do. We just want to give a little bit of a context to what this integration is and what it means. So we're going to show you a little bit about our tool, and Courtney's going to take us away there and kind of show the dynamic aspects of RoofQuote Pro.
Yes, well, thank you, Justice. So if you are unfamiliar with ROOFLE, what we do, there's kind of two parts to our software. The first is the software that sits on the website for marketing purposes, organic traffic, things like that. So guiding your customers to visit your website or using some sort of marketing tactic that explains, come and get an instant quote. This is a great example of our embedded widget. Again, this is just our demo site to provide. So once the homeowner enters in, and I can even show you quickly, once they enter in an address that they are looking to get a quote on, they'll click on the address that populates, and right away the home or their home or address will be updated, showing them the visuals immediately. What's nice with this is it can detect up to 10 structures. Once they click to see price, they're going to get this quick form fill. Once they pass through that, then they are going to be given, and again, this is completely white labeled, so it's going to display the products and pricing that are specific to you, and they're completely customizable, even all the way down to the package details. From here, there is the kind of the back end piece of this that just wanted to kind of give you some insight regarding, some of the benefits of ROOFLE. We have an amazing catalog that our team has put together here that allows you to, again, customize the types of products and experiences that can give your customer an instant quote on, whether it be something like a roof repair service all the way up to a full replacement on their roof. The other option, or as far as the huge opportunity here, is there is a really awesome sales tool for whether it be your sales team or even inside sales team to utilize, similar to the widget that's on your website. But what this does is it allows them to pull up a website without that lead form. So again, they can enter in an address with somebody that they have on the phone, verifying that address. And then from here, without having that lead form, they'll be able to get to the pricing much quicker without having to enter in any other types of details. So just a really awesome way to use with canvassing teams, your contractors out in the field, if they are doing any type of door knocking, or even if a neighbor comes up and approaches, now they have the ability to quote right then and there. Anything else? And then as far as for our integration pieces, so if you are a current customer, you're going to just simply find within the developer options a very quick and easy way to get connected to your account, which we'll showcase in a slide right over here.
And before we do that, can you just show the analytics really quick? Because this is where it gets really interesting. Is this JobNimbus integration is allowing you to connect every lead that comes into the ROOFLE tool, whether it be from your customer-facing side on your website or from a sales rep, internal or external, putting in a lead of a customer into your system. This JobNimbus integration will actually automatically take any input information into your tool and send it directly to your JobNimbus account with all of the associated data that would go along with that customer coming in. So a customer shows up to your website and gets an instant quote on your website. They are automatically built into your JobNimbus as either a job, as a contact, and you have all of that ready and pushed over into your JobNimbus. That's where this becomes really powerful. So we have direct analytics of everything that happens on your tool, whether it's your website widget or your internal sales tool. We track all of that for you. So this is where these numbers of 4,873 people who have seen the tool for our demo site would also have been 4,700 or 873 people inside of JobNimbus who have been transferred in and put into your CRM. They're organized, ready to fit into your automation cycle, ready to fit into any of your lead follow-up that you guys are already doing.
And I do want to just point out real quick too, now that you kind of mention it, is the details that are being pushed over aren't just necessarily the contact name and contact details. Within the ROOFLE system, you'll see here that you have a lot more displayed as far as what products they were shown. And so when somebody is coming in for a lead, this information is pushed over to that CRM.
Absolutely.
So integration setup, it's super easy. As I said, you know, with doing a live demonstration, what we wanted to really showcase here is how simple this is. So again, what you're going to want is to grab your API key from JobNimbus. It's right under the settings, almost to the bottom of that page, right under API. Right from there, you're just going to you're going to create a new API key, copy that API key, and then when you enter to connect your account, this pop-up here will be popped up, and this is where you're going to paste that API key right here. And then as far as the third step, this is going to be the type of lead that you are going to be kind of choosing. So, you know, whether it be contact or job flow, you're going to choose the status and then the lead source. So then that way, all of the information that is coming from ROOFLE, you'll be able to segregate or at least understand exactly what lead is coming through over into JobNimbus. And then contact creation. So every new lead generated with Roof Quote Pro is automatically created in JobNimbus. So as you can see here, this is really just showing the display as far as the contact information and what it would look like, or as far as what information is being pushed over to JobNimbus. So both site leads are going to be creating with the same information. If a rep is assigned, that is also going to, you know, if it's created by that rep, it's also going to be making sure that it's associated with that rep right into JobNimbus. And then the activity feeds. So all instant quote details are nicely organized and posted to the leads activity feed in JobNimbus. So as you can see here, when we were mentioning what is actually pushed over, it's not just the name or contact details. You're going to have all the information regarding that was detected. So square foot, structures, products quoted, all that information is immediately pushed right over into JobNimbus. You're not having to go through and look at two different portals. Makes it super nice and easy for reps that are being assigned these leads to know and understand exactly what these customers have been shown for price. And then the best part, photos. Images of the roof structures used for the original and updated instant quotes are all stored in the photo section. So that is huge. I think that is one of the best parts about this, is having the ability to pretty much show everything about that lead right over into JobNimbus.
Including even the PDF document of the quote that would be sent over to the customer. If the customer is asked for information to be emailed to them, you will receive the exact same information in a PDF document attached to this lead. So it's really, I mean, Brad did an incredible job of building this out and making it very robust. Are there more slides? I feel like there's probably another slide or two, but I want to let Brad loose and kind of share with us everything that's exciting to him about this and kind of what it means.
Yes, I was going to say that next slide was actually going over right exactly what Justice was discussing here. But Brad, I would love to know some insight as far as how you made this magic happen.
Magic, well, there's definitely some coding going on behind the scenes, but the big thing here was fulfilling that vision for the contractors of having an end-to-end lead experience. However, capturing those leads through us and facilitating them in their software, in their CRM. We strive to be the best top of funnel lead generation tool in the game, and we will continue to push on that effort through R&D and new development to continue improving things. So right now, this integration you see here, this is, we kind of worked with JobNimbus to see what technologies were compatible and how we could maximize that opportunity. And that's the fruits of that conversation is what you're seeing here. So we were able to update the activity feed and the documents set and the photos wall. We're hoping you guys, the contractors, can hit the ground running with this and provide feedback and see what we can do more. For example, I know that there's the concept of tasks in JobNimbus. It's possible we could generate a task along with the lead at the same time. We didn't go that far right away. We wanted to see people get to using this and see what kind of success they had, and then continue working forward on the partnership from there. All of this is part of ROOFLE talks about a lot, the road to e-commerce. which is where the newer generation of homeowners, they're used to shopping online. They're used to shopping on their phone. They're used to getting instant results. And that's the nature of buying anything. You can buy a car online now. Why can't you buy your roof online? So all these technologies are meant to drive the future generations toward this e-commerce like experience. Now we know nobody wants the homeowner to just swipe their credit card on the website, but if we get them into a more efficient end-to-end process, that's what people are expecting in this day and age. So we are continuing to work with JobNimbus and our partners to provide that the best homeowner experience possible and the best contractor tooling possible to make your operation efficient and increase your conversion rates as much as possible.
Awesome. Very, very concise. Kind of what we're trying to do, what our dream is, what our mission is. And that kind of brings us to one of our final points here, is that we really wanted to get into, since we do have Brad on coming from the very technical aspect, and since we do have Kevin on bringing us the partner kind of consumer facing side, I wanted to ask both of you, where do we see the industry going and how can contractors stay on the cutting edge? It's a conversation point I like to end all of our webinars on, because we bring in so many different people. I like to get these perspectives. So any feedback or any ideas that you guys have, anything that's kind of been top of mind recently about the market, the industry, where it's going, where consumers or contractors are headed?
Do you want me to go first, bring the B team on, and then we'll end with the A team?
However you want to phrase it, man.
I would say I think roofing as an industry is trailed just a little bit behind a lot of other industries. And so when we talk about what's in the future for roofing in the industry, I'm going to start with some of the technology pieces. Maybe I'll let Brad talk about AI and some of the really cool stuff, but I think a lot of roofers today are still very manual in how they manage their business. I think they're very manual in how they collect payments. They're very manual in a lot of those regards. Driving to a customer's house, right, to pick up a check, and sticky notes on the windshield of a car and some of those kind of things. And so digitizing and optimizing a lot of the technologies around how roofers work is going to be super front of mind. We have here, and you guys are welcome to scan that QR code and download what we call our peak performance report. So we actually spend about half of our year every year surveying roofers of all shapes and sizes in all different, insurance and restoration and commercial and residential and retail, all different verticals of the roofing space. And we ask them a lot of different questions, including, hey, what is your average Google rating, and how, what's your average profitability, and how long are you spending on a job, and how do you find leads, and all sorts of different questions. And so this becomes for, before we get into what's the future look like, we can say, hey, what does today look like? And download this report, and becomes for you a benchmark report to be like, okay, hey, I'm here. This is how much money I'm spending to acquire one lead, or I'm here. This is how long it takes me to go from proposal to final billing. This is the percentage of jobs that I win. This is my average profit margin. This is my company culture. And then see how those aspects of your business compare with the best and the best, the highest profitability, the highest revenue, the highest rated. And you can, for yourself, see where do I need to go tomorrow in my own personal business, my own industry. But I would say, as a general rule, the industry is making good leaps towards using, like I said, technology and finance and tools and that others have adopted a few years before. That's what I'll add, and then I'll let Brad talk about some of the fun stuff. AI, that's just out of my realm. Or if that's what he wants to talk about, you talk about whatever you want.
Thanks for being the first guest on to say, when asked about the future, to say, before we think about the future, let's think about today first. Nobody's put it in that perspective, and that's such a relevant topic because Courtney and I spend so much of our time talking with roofers. We talk face to face with roofers all day, every day, and some of the things that come up in the peak performance report, like how long does it take you to close a lead? Sometimes you ask that to a contractor and they don't necessarily know that, because not everybody's tracking that. It doesn't seem as relevant to everybody. And what this peak performance does is kind of provides that, like, maybe there's something about the way that you're running your business that it's not out of anything besides you just didn't know that other people were tracking this information. You didn't know that that was data that was valuable, and it had never been relevant to you before, and suddenly it's becoming relevant. And using this peak performance review to be able to kind of see what others are doing in the industry can be extremely valuable. Because that becomes
the first step to. Oh yeah, sorry. No, I was going to say the first step to improving something is measuring it, right? I think you're right. People, I remember living in Texas during a storm, and a guy came around and a friend, and it was a good reputable business, came and worked with my insurance company, replaced my roof. It was like a $40,000 job, right? And got the money for my insurance, and I have this money sitting in my bank account for like 60 days. And I finally called this guy and I'm like, are you going to come get paid? Like, should I put a check in the mail? Like, and he ended up driving to my house in this big 1-ton, souped up, amazing truck. And I handed him the check, and she's like, how much time and money? And what if I had never called him, And so I think there's a lot of those things that we can work to improve.
That's such a good, like, I'm losing my word for what it would be, but it's like such a good anecdotal example of exactly what we're talking about and exactly what we run into of things like that. It's like, how long does it take you to get back to a lead on average? If you don't know the answer to that, that might be a little bit concerning. It should be something and it should be something that's a very, very, very small amount of time, preferably. But sorry, I'm talking all over you, Brad. Where's the market going? Where's the industry going? What are you most excited about in the trajectory of the industry?
The market's moving towards more automation, more efficiency. And when it comes to AI, there's a few categories or areas of AI that are affecting. One of them would be sort of lead qualification, where there's so much data on the back end. You can begin to, if you have a volume of leads, you can sort and rank those leads and handle them under different tiers of sales process. Other ones are aerial imagery detection and the ability to assess the roof remotely. So that's the foundation of what Roof Quote Pro is the ability to get a preliminary roof assessment from the sky. You don't have to pay insurance for your salesperson to walk on the roof and risk falling off with a tape measure, anything like that. That's going to continue to be pushed for the next 5 years straight until it really gets dialed in. We're still in the earliest phases of that, but there's many AI software companies working in that space, whether it's from a retail perspective or an insurance perspective. Those are big markets that they're looking at.
And I think this kind of goes like full circle from the beginning, is like, time is not something that we can create. We can't, I would love to add more time into my day to do certain things. But when it comes down to evaluating, I think most people are really coming to the fact of like, I need more time to do, or I don't have enough time to do. And these tools right here are going to eliminate or even assist in giving back some of that time.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to at the end of the day, is how do we save contractors as much time as possible so they can spend as much time as they can, doing what they're best at and not doing the things that everybody can do, but few actually get around to doing. I do want to open it up to the Q&A. So if anyone has anything that they want to share, any questions that they have either about the integration, about ROOFLE, about JobNimbus, anything that we can clarify, anything that we can answer, we're more than happy to. If you have specific development questions, updates that might be coming, now is the time to ask, having Brad on the call with us. So please don't hold back from that side. And then I wanted, while we kind of wait and see if anybody's got anything to add, Kevin, I wanted to ask you, what do you pay most attention to on that peak performance review? What are the numbers that stick out to you, or what do you spend most of your time focusing on when you review that?
For me, production is one of the ones, because I'm a big believer. I come from a contracting family. My dad, my uncle, my grandpa, they were all HVAC contractors. And then I owned a drywall and paint business for a few years. And so production was one of the biggest problems for me. How long does it take to get a job done? From a sales manager point of view, that helps us in an estimating standpoint, but also benchmarking is really important. So all the tools that kind of revolve around production were really interesting to me. There's several questions in there that talk about culture, and which are really, really interesting to me. And then two other ones that I really liked. One was on software used. Brad touched on digital measurements, and in my role at JobNimbus, I managed partnerships and integrations of. We have over 400 companies integrated within JobNimbus. The average roofing company will use 4 or 5, and the best of the best find ways to use those efficiently, right? It's interesting how you get to 9, 10, 11, and it's too many. And 1 or 2 is probably too few. And so some of those tools are pretty interesting. The other one that I thought that I really liked was financing options, right? Hey, are you carrying paper for your customers? Are you accepting payments? Is it taking you 60, 90, 120 days to collect payment? Or could you be reducing that AR time by offering financing options? Or even just offering credit cards, or are you accepting payments over text message? Or, just those kinds of things that are just, for me, super, super interesting.
That's a piece that I highlight quite often. I have interestingly a similar background from you. I come from a contracting family, and then I got into fintech before I came here to ROOFLE. So I end up spending a lot of my time talking about financing, and not so much from a trying to push everyone to finance every job. That's fine too. But in giving options, and that's the main thing for me, is giving options to your customers about how they go about this purchase. Because the example I use all the time, if you go to Target now, you can pay for your groceries in 4 payments with Afterpay or Klarna or whatever. Everywhere that you go, you're getting different options of how to pay for something. And by not offering those options as a contractor, you're kind of just leaving yourself behind deliberately, rather than kind of finding any solution that fits that need of, you can do cash, you can do card, and I have finance options, trying to cover every base possible so that you never run into a situation where you've done everything right and you still lose a customer because you just don't have the payment option that they're looking for. All right. We've had the Q&A open. Nobody's taken the bait on that one, so we are going to leave it as is. No reason to eat into anybody's time. I know we're all busy people. Lastly, feel free to hit this QR code and schedule a demo with JobNimbus if you are not familiar with their technology, or if you are, and now is the time to go ahead and proceed. If you need anything from ROOFLE, win.roofle.com. I try to highlight it every time. That's our success center, win.roofle.com. You can get in there, schedule an appointment with myself, Courtney, our onboarding team, find a ton of resources and more of these webinars. Lastly, thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you so much, Brad. I really appreciate you guys giving us your time and joining us here. If there's anything else that you want to add here at the end before we wrap it up, the floor is yours.
No, I appreciate the chance to come in and share. It's been a long time. We had this this integration done a couple months ago. Kind of beta tested it and worked through a bug or two, and it's humming just beautifully now. And we're just so excited to get together and shout out about it.
Well, so far customers have been loving it. So anyone who has used it, I've heard nothing but wonderful things.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you don't have anything wonderful, we want to hear that too, because we do pay attention, we do listen, and we will try to make those updates. Last thing I want to hit on, Mitch Richards asked if this is a recorded video. Yes, you registered for this webinar. You will get an update in your email once the recording is available, so you will be able to come back and watch it again. Brad, anything to add before we jump out of here?
No, thanks so much for everyone's joining. We think that this coupling of technology is very powerful for the contractor. If you need to learn more, get in touch with either side here, and we will add gasoline to your fire on this.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Join us for the next one, everybody. Take care. Have a great day.